Okay, so for the last section where we're going to put the grass on, I'm just letting you see me sort of wet the paper because it's really important that you see, actually with grass, how I apply my wash. So it's not random. So I have still got, you know, my number 10 brush, which has got a lovely point on it. So I'm using it, I'm flicking it upwards like that. So even at this stage, it's going to look like grass. I've left gaps in my water application. And we're going to go all the way across to the end. I've already got my paint ready. I'm using a sort of olive green. I've got orange and raw sienna out. And I've still got my blue out there. So when you're doing something like grass, which is multicolored and complex, you know, don't stick to one green. You need multiple colors. Otherwise it's boring. So now I'm going over my wash because it has sort of dried off a little bit. You want it quite pale, probably that's a little bit on the dark side. But you see, you can still see my water a little bit. So I probably want it not quite as individual. I don't mind at this stage. And then make that top row a little bit random. So don't make it all going in the same direction. Right. So I keep adding more water here, but it's still quite dark. Let's just go with water. Right. I don't want them too high because it's going to look weird if that's low there. So let's make these. A little bit lower as we come down. Adding a bit of raw sienna, so it's getting a bit yellower. As it's coming down here. So still do all your brush directions in the direction that the grass would be. So now I'm going to make so I'm going to start again at that end, but I'm going to make my lines a little bit shorter, I'm hoping, this time. So again, just change the colour up a little bit so you're not doing the same colour all the way across. So it's a bit like doing the fur, you know, when you did lots of shorter little brush marks. I mean, you could paint every blade of grass individually, but I mean, who has time to do that? So painting areas of grass is actually quite a technique, and it depends how interested you are in wanting to do that. I've tried many different techniques. So I found this is quite a good one to lay your wash down first, and then you can make that decision on how detailed you want to make it on top. And if you sort of start painting by painting every individual grass, it will take you forever. And then your attention would be on the grass and not the rabbit. So always think, where is my focal point? Where do I want people to look? And that's where you put your detail. So if you put your detail into the background, that's where people are going to look. But I quite like it down here because it's sort of just drifting away, which is exactly what I want. I want attention sort of around here. Oh, picked up a bit of orange there. So now I'm going to change my brush. I'm going to use a rigger brush, which is one of these. Line nice long and thin. Now I'm just going to pull a few grasses out. Now it's still a bit wet, so hopefully I'll just pick up some of those bits I put on last time. I don't want too much down the bottom, just the odd one. Now, while you're coming round the bunny, let's see, first I'm going to fill it in. And then I'm going to use a tiny bit of white body colour or gouache, just to do one or two blades of grass over the top of the rabbit. But I don't want to overdo it. I literally just want to indicate that there is grass there. These rigger brushes are great for grass and tree branches. Anything where you want a nice long thin line. Okay, now I'll mix a little bit of body colour in with the green. You have to really work into body colour, especially if it's dried. You have to work your brush into it and then work it into whatever colour you want. I mean, you can get, gouache comes in a range of colours, not quite as wide as the watercolours do, but you know, there's a lot of choice. So if that's if you decide that you really like gouache, it's, you know, you can invest in a few colours if that's what you like to do, because it's, you know, they're great paints. They're a cross between acrylics and watercolors. Sorry, I'm just trying to mix this. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Not quite white enough, can't see it. Let's mix some yellow with it. So I'm just trying to get the paints wet at the moment, just to, while I'm rabbiting on. We're nearly there. Let's see. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? It's not really obvious, but it is there. Just see if I can do a couple more before I finish up. Okay, I think that's about it. Okay, well, I hope that you've liked this demonstration. Overall, I am really happy with the watercolour board. I think it's done a beautiful job on the sky. It's all blended. There's no hard lines there. Love the fur. It was really easy to paint. You know, it's really the paint application. I didn't have to do very much. It did it for me. And I'm even happy with the grass. So, yep, thumbs up for the watercolour board. And if you can locate some, I would recommend you have a go. And I will see you next time. Bye.